Ah! Ha! No, it's the season of Halloween, which means that not only do you get to laugh, in fact, you can actually be a little bit more use. There we go. Now you look so much better. So hello and welcome to the Halloween special spooky episode where we are going to roll up our sleeves and get a pumpkin done. So we have two cameras. We have this one just set up behind. Hello. Which will get a lovely close-up of the design and stuff that we'll be doing. A bit like we did when I had Basil sat next to me. Remember that one? Don't have Basil here now. He's dead. Anyway, let's move this out of the way. He's not dead, by the way. He's very much alive. Okay, anyway, so I went to my local Asda's and picked up this in the monster pumpkin section. It's an absolutely ginormous pumpkin. Actually only cost £5. You don't really see pumpkins any other time of the year, do you? It's just at Halloween. But you can make some lovely like pumpkin soup and, you know, eat it raw. If that's also your thing. Tutorial number 1. What you want to do is get a pumpkin, and it doesn't have to be this big, of course. And this isn't like ginormous. It's probably the biggest one I've cut in for a while. What you want to do is just have a look at a side. We want to pick a side. So that side's not very good because it's sort of slanted towards the floor. If I can put it there. It's like you want a flat face to carve into. So the face we're going to use is probably that one. This one has a lovely curvature to it. Yeah, this bit here, this bit. Before we do that, what we need to do is get the inside of the pumpkin outside the pumpkin. So what you will need for this, something to put the pumpkin innards into, preferably a big bowl, because there's going to be a lot of that in there. But maybe not too much. You could also use a spoon to just scoop all of the stuff. But in order to get into it, I'm using this, a deluxe pumpkin carving kit. Wow! If you remember my last videos, the new stuff, or the modern stuff that you can buy these days for carving pumpkins is way too blunt. Obviously for protection against, you know, kids cutting themselves, but you need something sharp to get a really good design going. So, woo! We've also got some stencils, which we'll probably not use because we're going to do our own design. And of course, the things that I bought for intricate cuts. And then you've got the big for probably cutting out the top. Oh, and also, yeah, oh, wow. Ooh, it does prick. Oh, perfect. That's good. I like that. Right, so what you need to do is cut out a hole in the top of your pumpkin. Don't cut straight down. If you cut straight down when you're cutting the top out of the pumpkin, when you put the pumpkin top back in, it'll fall straight down. So what you want to do is cut at an angle. Oh god, yeah. Roll up your sleeves. If this hasn't been released yet, I know. I actually have some changes to make to the toast hoodie because somebody who was Japanese mentioned that I got the hiragana or katakana. I got it wrong because when you put it sideways, instead of saying to suto, it said to ichi. So don't worry, the ones that you'll get will say it right. That was my fault. I'm a beginner, okay? Please forgive me. Also, I realized I am not cutting the way I should be cutting. So here we go. As long as we get a portion of it cut sideways, we'll be all right. Oh, here we can. Oh, yes, lovely. I'm going to need to give this table a wash. I forgot how messy this is. Oh, yes. Lovely guts. Isn't that gorgeous? Bring over the bowl. Like so, and just scrape, and there you go. You just want to scrape off all of the bits there, so you've got something that's quite flat. But what you also don't want to do is cut off the sides. Don't cut off any of the rim around there, because if you do that, when you put it back in, it's going to fall straight down, and nobody wants that. Also, probably should have got some kitchen rolls. Gonna go downstairs to get some kitchen roll. You can also use the pumpkin seeds. If you put them all on a tray, put them in the oven, you can have some roasted pumpkin seeds. That's quite nice. I think it's time to fast forward. Don't be afraid to get your hands dirty. Just get them in there. Just grab as much pumpkin poop as you can. All right. So, oh God, just whack the mic. Once you've taken out all of your pumpkin innards, I mean, it's up to you whether you want to make some pumpkin seed stuff, but I'm probably not going to. You put that out, you put that all in the bin, you get rid of that. Just take a kitchen towel or kitchen roll, whatever you use at home, because we're gonna now do my method of how to make the thing on the pumpkin. What you want to do is you can get a stencil and you can put that on the side of the pumpkin. I find them more work than they're worth. For me anyway, I guess the best way would be to project it onto the pumpkin. That's like pro level stuff. Other pro level stuff is to get the design you want printed out and then do it that way, which is, I guess, a stencil. So if you are one of the lucky few who bought one of these, you too can make a toast pumpkin using this magnet. If not, I guess you could always just Google a Carnotaurus skull. I'm gonna grab just a normal biro pen. You could use a marker, but we'll give it a shot. Oh no, it's working. Is that too high? That's probably a bit too high. Ah, it also doesn't come off. That's a thing. Now the beauty of this part is that once you make this part of the pumpkin, or you draw on it, it might look unsightly. In fact, I have probably started this Carnotaurus a little bit too high on the pumpkin. But as you can see on the design itself, it has a wide jaw. There we go, that's giving us the definition there, because I just sort of cut in that. I mean, can you even see? Can you see? Cut in a little bit more here, and that's really giving the bluntness of that Carnotaurus there. He's got a lot more teeth on the top jaw than he does the lower jaw, let me tell you that. I mean, obviously I've done something like this before when it came to the Jurassic Park T-Rex, and you just sort of make a nice silhouette, and pen won't show when you do that. I wanted to do something a little bit different for the toast though. I did think of doing some sort of support for the bread, but then it looked like a bread popsicle. Really, this is my first attempt. If I was to try it really hard, I'd probably do a couple of times. Just wipe it off and be like, no, that's not right. Ah, that's annoying. But for the sake of this video, not being about 3 hours long, I think we are gonna go ahead and start cutting. So, what we need is probably our little cutter. Now, what I'd like to do, or what I used to do, because I don't actually have it with me, is get a little prodder. Now, I guess you could do this with any sort of pen. Actually, yeah, I have one downstairs. Hold on, guys. Let me go get the pin from downstairs. Because we got that head, and it would look a bit weird like it's just coming out, I'm thinking if we just extend the cut just a little bit, and then we can give the toast some extra definition. I'm gonna have to look. I'm gonna have to look at the Jurassic Park logo. I can't remember it. No, Jurassic logo, not Pogo. There we go. Now we've got something that looks actually quite cool. Ah, Jesus! Pumpkins are heavy. Yeah, now that looks a lot better. Now we've got a Carnotaurus coming out of the pumpkin. Now, what you probably need to do is get a pin, something that looks like that, or with pumpkin kits you can often get a prodder. Again, I used an old one because it had a sharp point on it. It makes it a lot easier. So what I'm going to do, go along, but when it comes to cutting, this is going to make the cutting part a lot easier, because it's the skin that is really the tough part to get through. And especially if you're doing little things like the teeth, it's going to be very hard. Oh god, the pumpkin, it's crying. Oh god, it wiped away the thingy. Actually, that's good. Pumpkin juice, it can help you here. It can make it look way more professional. So just go through the whole process. Again, we're going to need to speed this up. Right, so we have now cut or pricked all of the logo. I don't know if, well, can you see it there? I don't know if you can. Probably best to put it in the close-up camera, and even then you can't really see it too clearly. I've also given it a wipe to dry it all. Not that that really makes too much of a difference, because it's about to get cut and get more wet. Now that it comes to cutting out the shape, where do we start? If you cut out this entire empty section here and here in the mouth, and then underneath the mouth, you're going to be left with instabilities. So when you come to cutting out the nose hole, the eye hole, and the ear hole of the skull, this could tear and, you know, it could break apart. If I cut out the big parts and I do that to this skull, it could bend and crack. So we don't want to do that. Thinly. I'm not going to stick the whole thing through just yet. I just want to follow the line first. But what you also need to do is cut like straight into the pumpkin. Not at an angle, not like that, like facing. It might be easier to come down here and like, you know, saw that way, or from the top to saw down. What you want to do is cut straight. Also, if you're doing something like this, like a fossil or something that's rugged, it's always best just to twist it a little bit as you're cutting. Don't cut straight. You know, give it that uneven look that you maybe couldn't have given it when you were poking it with a pin. There it is. Woohoo! And our first bit. So, I mean, as you can see, I'll turn that around to show you, but already, yeah, it's hard to see. It's sort of big here, and then it's going quite small when it's inside. The next bit, now we're going to have to be even more delicate here. If you have to do a tight turn, it's best just to take the thing out and to plunge it back in where you're going to turn this. There we go! Another one done! To the nose hole. There we go. And that should be the easiest one to get out, really. Yep, there we go. There we go. Boom! And one of the most delicate parts of the entire thing now, which is that bit, and well, that's really it, is done. Now, the next thing that we're going to want to do, now we've got those, is look for the next part of the sculpt that is going to have very weak integrity. So it is probably going to be this bit here in the inside of the mouth, where we've got to do some very intricate cuts for the teeth. So I'm going to probably cut this piece out first, and then once we've done that, then we can just start from the top, cut all around, get to the toast, cut it out in segments, and we should all be good. The best way to do this is actually just cut along all of the jaggedy points. And then I'm gonna cut across from down from the first tooth, and I'm just gonna, here we go, cut this bit. Oh God! Now, when I go into it, I can just cut straight down and out. Cut the piece out, whereas if we're doing little triangles, when it comes to popping out the piece, it's almost going to be nigh on impossible. So it's best just to cut round all of the teeth and the mouth as well. Yep, there you go. Ah! And now I can see very clearly into the pumpkin flesh. And there you go. Just that whole little slither here, that's a tooth. So just to give you a clue at the kind of level we're talking about here of difficulty. Now, I would still focus on the rind, like the skin of the pumpkin, to get these teeth out. Because the skin of the pumpkin really gives the darkest silhouette. I mean, even if it doesn't look too much like your original, it's a fossil! They come in all shapes and sizes. Also, don't hold your knives like these. If you're a kid, get parents' supervision. If you're a beaver, just make sure you're recording it so there's evidence of what went wrong and you can learn from your mistakes. So what's left to do as far as really difficult bits go is kind of just the bottom here. When we've done the T-Rex in the past, this bit, the neck, especially in the first one I ever did, was quite narrow. So I've deliberately made Carnotaurus's or Toast's neck over here, if you can see. I made this bit very big. So this is the negative space we're going to cut out up from here, and then this is the negative space here. So what we're going to do is we're going to cut from the top down. So we make sure that this thing has as much foundation to not snap as humanly possible. I mean, if you do this around about now, by the time it comes to Halloween, you'll have a nice rotted fossil looking T-Rex. It'll look fantastic. So do not try to cut this whole thing out in one bit. You're probably going to end up with something that's very cracked. So there we go. I've cut all the way around the top. Is that better? So we're going to cut from that to the neck, just because we've got a lot of bumpy bits here. Ah, that's a good trick, actually. So what you want to do when you cut into the pumpkin, if you want, because one of the hardest bits to do is when you come to push out a piece, you'll end up with parts that haven't been cut through all the way because you've taken the knife out and stuck it in somewhere else, or the cutting tool, we'll call it. So if you want to go in from where you cut and then put like, so you're in that way and then pull out as much as you can, keeping it kind of in and then twist it to the direction that you want and then continue to cut. Has James just unearthed a secret to pumpkin cutting? There we go, woohoo! Big chunk out.
Take it out already.
So now that we've done that bit, we're going to follow the skull all the way up to probably the horn. I mean, already I can see the whole thing starting to pop out. Just delicately cut this. Could all go wrong. And the biggest chunk, boom! It's starting to take shape. Now I'm gonna follow the horn down. The bull beast, or was it the bull lizard? No, I mean it's toast. Oh well, get with the program. So it's so hard to like cut it without covering the camera. Wham! I'm like a paleontologist of the pumpkin realm. There we go. I did actually cut through the Carnotaurus there. The nose here is a bit unfortunate. I mean, if I tilt that for you, there's no support there. You can see my knife sticking through. It'll still really give a good silhouette here, and that's because of the way I was cutting it. So now we're gonna cut through the toast. Getting to another tricky area here, which is the bottom of the jaw. Oh, this hasn't been cut out actually. Oh, I've only done the top. Oh, okay. And hopefully... Yes! We're getting there, look! Okay. Oh! I mean, you can see when I went in there, the head started to go. Oh, the bottom of the jaw's really flimsy. Oh, dear. And this is why you don't start at the bottom, because could you imagine with no weight trying to cut out the inside bits like that? Just follow that around and then hopefully... Yeah, there you go. We got the jaw. Now I'm just going to kind of improvise here, because this rib that's at the bottom is... If I cut that way, it's not going to stay. So, design for the... Oh god, it's already gone. Yeah, it's already gone. Should pull out pretty easy. And there we go. So we've still got some sort of definition at the bottom there. It's not too crazy. But, there we have it. We have our toast Carnotaurus and the toast little silhouette thing there. Here, there's a lot of the veiny stuff that I need to still get rid of just to tidy it up. And if you want to, you can just clear out the eye holes, which will give you a lot more definition. God, I make it sound like I do these all the time, don't I? I've only ever done like 3. Now, you shouldn't do this. You shouldn't scrape once you've done your carving. You should make sure that all of that is done by the time you want to carve. Just because, especially if you've got a design that has some very delicate bits in, you could accidentally pull at it and it's going to fall apart. But I'm just going to do this now because I'm a seasoned professional, you see. I'm a pumpkin master carver. You know, pumpkins are just an American thing. My mum was telling me that when she was a kid, she used to carve turnips. Can you imagine? A turnip is solid all the way through and it's rock hard. That'd be horrendous. Does the lid go on the pumpkin? Yeah! My own fault for doing that. But there you have it. Can you see it? Now there's only one thing left to do, and that's to see what it looks like in the dark with candles. There we have it. The toast pumpkin. It's probably not the best that's ever been created. I'm not gonna lie. But a rough tutorial, hopefully, to help you create a much better one. And if you do intend to make a pumpkin, a Jurassic Park pumpkin, or even a toast pumpkin like this one, tweet at me the picture or tag me on Instagram or something like that, just so I'd love to see how much better yours is than mine. But if you enjoyed this video, I hope you have a happy Halloween. And until next time, I'll see you later. Bye-bye.